team that has made a roster change as well. They have lost J-Dubs, now have enlisted Learcy in their services. I feel like that's a team that just lost a big chunk of their firepower.
Yeah, that's like a massive hit, you know? I mean, at this point, you need to have all guns blazing, and having him kind of bow out here, you need that firepower, especially with the likes of Momo and Pluto on Vendetta, hungry to kind of qualify for playoffs here. So, I mean, the odds are really stacked against Detonate here. And if they need to actually convert this series, I mean, I don't necessarily think that they can. And looking forward, they've got to play against B-Hop as well, so it's going to be an uphill battle for sure, Boggs. But I'm excited to see if whether or not they can actually overcome this huge behemoth of an obstacle of Vendetta.
It really is a huge behemoth. That's a really good way of describing it. And they're starting out on the T set of Mirage as well. It's not the best place to start on Mirage. It's not the best. Actually, I thought Mirage was one of the better maps for Detonate. Looking at the initial veto, I was wrong. It was a better map for Vendetta. And Vendetta's going to get the opening couple of headshots. Nice job there. Jermanji will get the trade, and at least the bomb will come down for Detonate. That'll be a force buy in the next round, guaranteed at the very least. And those Galils are a very potent buy. So it's not a terrible option to just get the bomb down. In fact, it's a victory in and of itself. Now, if Detonate's able to win the round fully, they really put themselves in a better position, but Woohoo's come through. But Wolffe, jermanji respond with 2 swift returns, and Pluto and Consti now in a 2-on-2. I don't see a kit down as well, which does mean time is of the essence here as it ticks down below that halfway point. Jermanji and Wolffe both isolated in towards CT. Consti and Pluto have to swing this together, and Detonate's holding the line. Consti does get one, and they can hop on the bomb, but is there time? No, there's not, and it's gonna be a Detonate pistol round despite losing all 5. And that's a good start for Detonate because their record is 1-4 on this map with a -30 round differential.
Jeez, man. I mean, that statistic in and of itself kind of paints the picture of what Detonate has to overcome. The stats don't lie in this case. And, I mean, honestly, it's a scrappy round to win, but it's a very well-earned pistol round from Detonate, actually reclaiming CT spawn there, holding for as long as possible, and then pouncing and stalling for as long as possible. It's not the prettiest pistol round win, Boggs, but it's the first round nonetheless.
Yeah, not pretty, but hey, a win's a win, and we can see the buy coming through from Vendetta. It's going to be a force, but the force is only a FAMAS, a Deagle, an MP9, and whatever Tender and Momo want to get. Another MP9 and probably another Deagle coming through. No kit again purchased up, and Detonate with their 3 Galils, their AK, all the utility in the world, respectively speaking, to Vendettas and the MAC-10 on Jermanji. This is a great round for the T side to just start to establish something, a foundation to build up a map. The nade does some good damage onto the MAC-10. If it was on a rifle, it would just get swapped around, so really nothing different. And Detonate have made the right call, haven't they? They found the wide open B side. It was a gamble stack towards A from Vendetta, and really no probing coming in from Detonate. They just kind of decided, you know what, we're going to go B and hope it works.
Gamble stacking is always difficult. I mean, the force buy isn't the prettiest thing in the world. I mean, I was expecting to see a lot more, especially taking down all 5 individuals on detonating that pistol, but it doesn't actually amount to anything heading into round 2. What that shot certainly does. Pluto with a nice little 1D. Holding on to these is just the most important. Heading into round 3, you'd like to have an extra bite at the cherry, see what you can do with these Deagles, with these MP9s. And another, okay, actually looking much better, having a SMG on the cards as well. So actually, a pretty SMG kill as well. I mean, this is a pretty good force buy and an opportunity to actually keep these weapons into the third. I mean, things are looking pretty decent for Vendetta.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think things are looking real good for Vendetta here moving forward, or rather for Detonate, and for Vendetta, they need to get something going here. They have the round here where they can get a little damage done, hurt that economy of Detonate, but if Detonate are able to win this one really strong, this is where things can start to shift early. I mean, you get 5-6 rounds on the T-side Mirage, you're pretty much where you want to be, right? Anything more, if Detonate are able to get 7 or 8, I think they'll be in a really good spot moving into that CT side, and they did pick this map for a reason. Statistically, they are not the favored team here. So, wait, they just got another wide open B site.
Deja vu. I mean,
No
another gamble stack from Vendetta, and again, it just doesn't pan out for them. Obviously, I mean, it's not going to really matter. They've saved accordingly. They've kept their finances in check, so it should be no harm, no foul. It's really just a question of damage at this point.
One kill over from Pluto is nice, but Landmass is going to go for some kill hunting. Good couple of exits on to Consti and Tender. And Pluto and Momo will, at least Pluto will presumably save the Galil if he's allowed to. They're hunting him down, and there's a nice headshot there from Landmass's third of the round. A Galil upgrade for jermanji, and Momo will sit around jungle and just try and get one more exit. That's all he can really hope for. There's double op potential for Vendetta. Do you want to see them go for the double op, though, right off the rip?
I don't necessarily like that, especially when funds are hard to come by, when you've not actually established a healthy foundation of economy. I mean, it's nice to just kind of get your feet wet with the rifles. Bring out, I usually only like these double ops coming out as a last resort, more to the tail end of a half when things aren't necessarily working out. Be a little bit more aggressive on the B side of the map, opening up the more passive AWP on the A side on ticket and whatnot. So instead, Momo is actually just going to opt in and keep that MAC 10. Consi will have his AWP out. I like this, making sure that you're basically making use of everything that's been given to you instead of just wasting and throwing the MAC 10 away and forcing up with potentially an MP9. I think this is a more financially savvy decision, so to speak.
Yeah, and the differences between the MP9 and the MAC 10 are really limited to range and armor pen, so it's not that much of a downgrade. The MAC 10 is still a very good SMG, and for its price is far superior to the MP7 and MP5, and the Bison should never be talked about in this kind of a conversation.
Absolutely.
I did have seen the Bison starting to come through a bit more, and it's a bit concerning, because it's just like, alright, NA, how much of a meme do we want to be here? But I do agree with that MAC 10 call, especially if it's played in an advanced position, but Woohoo goes peeking out, and he gets removed. A good opening here from jermanji. And now Landmass might have an option onto Tender, too, whose smoke reveals his position. And there's a pop out of Palace from Learsea, but the new man on Detonate will not be able to find a mark. Landmass drops, he sees the shadow, he knows! And there he capitalizes man advantage back for Detonate, smoke across, but the bomb stuck in middle, and that is a problem. That kill, however, makes it better, and Wolffe strikes into Pluto. Phenomenal work to entry in from Connector. That mid stall doesn't come into fruition, and Vendetta now with only one player, the MAC 10 player of Momo, stuck to try and clutch this one out in a 1v4. Just don't hunt with the op, Wolffe. That's the one thing you have to not do, is lose the op.
And give away MAC 10 kills. I mean, it's great economy boosters, but this time around it's just a dink. That head armor a bit too strong to overcome. Landmass capitalizes, and a fourth on the board from Detonate. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from them so far. They're showing that they have gall to take these more contact-heavy fights, not necessarily hugging and utilizing this utility to the utmost advantages. They're more so relying on their aim, and those entries are landing. It's catching Vendetta off guard, expecting a bit more of a set piece here and there. And for that reason, I mean, that aggressiveness is rewarded this time around, and it's back down to a lighter buy for Vendetta.
And for Vendetta, too, just looking historically, they played this map 5 times. Their T-win percentage is 24.3%.
Yeah. I mean,
they've eclipsed that.
That in and of itself is already a net positive. I spoke... Okay. Okay. Wolffe with a fantastic little tap. But I think I spoke about this with Cole last night as well on the ECLB stream, and I think we were both discussing that at this point it's a CT heavy meta, and especially in ECL, T rounds are hard to come by. Any and every bit of momentum that you can scrounge up here on this T side is that much more important. And getting 4 rounds, potentially 5 here, especially with the man advantage extending itself to a 5v3. It looks pretty good here for Detonate to be sitting pretty heading into that second half. I know it's still early doors, but good results this early on is definitely nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if Vendetta came into this one thinking they were kind of shoo-ins, thinking they were the overdogs and that they didn't need to really come into it too much, or is this just the absence of Sponge? Because, again, he's a phenomenal anchor player. He gets what he needs to do done. Get that 1, maybe 2 kills, buy time at the very least. And there's a nice mop-up round again for Detonate here. And a 5-0 start on the T side of Mirage, which, yeah, CT-sided, CT-heavy meta, especially at this level. So when we're looking at it here, it really does seem to be a bit of an issue for Vendetta in this early going, and the fact that they haven't really called a timeout either is a bit concerning. it's quite concerning as well. And if they don't make a change soon, things are really going to start going south. They've got Consti on the off again. Landmaz has his for Detonate. And they might even go for the run boost here, which would be a nice, fun start to the round. But Vendetta really haven't mixed anything up either. It's a standard 2-1-2 play with the probe in towards middle early, and then you get smoked off, so you go to connector, right? There's nothing really fancy, nothing really interesting coming out from Vendetta. It's all pretty stock standard, and stock standard hasn't worked.
I think they're just really relying on hoping that they win these aim duels. I mean, again, lack of CT aggression means lack of information. They're essentially handshaking mid on over. They aren't contesting B apartments as well. And really, I mean, even this A setup feels a bit more retech heavy. If a set piece comes through, they wait for the bomb to be planted. I mean, they don't have kits for that either. And so once this does inevitably come in here, as Detonate gets set up, it's going to be quite difficult. They're going to have to try to deny this bomb to go down for as long as possible. But they should get the site scot-free here, Boggs.
Yeah, the Molotov's going to give a little more information over to Vendetta. No CT smoke available. No smokes at all for Detonate. This could be a bit of a problem as Consti's got the op in towards Ticket Booth, but time is also another massive factor. Is the clock's ticking down under 30 seconds. Detonate have not even gotten the bomb out of ramp, but jermanji with another entry kill for Detonate here, and the rest of the squad on the outside looking in as Detonate really got to get the bomb down here. Woohoo gets a pickup and Tender now strikes, and this is the problem. They took too long to get to the site. They had no smokes, and now it's a man advantage for Vendetta. The Molotov into Firebox will actually, that's onto default plant. Landmaz gonna get flamed back into fire. He's got his op primed and ready, but there's 4 players here from Vendetta ready to go in. 3 from the jungle side and 1 through CT. Landmaz misses a critical shot. That could have really started things off well. Another Molotov flies in. He knows it. He's got to swing into the open, and he's going to be picked up by Momo. Nice angle from Learcy. Only 1 headshot delivered. Wolffe's got a clutch up, and he cannot. There's time for the defuse, I think. Yeah, they got it with the 10-second. And it's a big round for Vendetta to win, but it comes at a costly mistake from Detonate and a complete mismanagement of both time and utility.
Utility especially. I mean, they've got the right read with that A-site retake setup from Vendetta. And showcasing all the kind of space that they took in mid was super important for them. It was basically they're in pole position to close that round out, but that extreme lack of a CT smoke, and I think more importantly, not having a jungle cross smoke as well, instilled unnecessary fear into the individuals of Detonate. They didn't know whether or not they could actually plant this bomb safely. And that comes back to bite them. No real safe post plants as well. They definitely look very uncomfortable when that actually underwent itself. But now this double up setup is starting to rear its ugly head for Detonate. Stereo frags here for Vendetta. And the AWPs have picked up 3 kills quick and fast. Woohoo as well. And it's just Learcy and kind of a flash here, Boggs.
Yeah, the Ops getting 3 kills overall, a really good start. And well, for Vendetta, maybe it seems like the curse is finally broken. They've got some confidence now to play with, and the double ops working really well. Woohoo getting that AK kill as well, even just Learcy in the 1-on-5. He's not really going to be able to do too much. Consti's going to swing out wide. Get him with the op. That'll be his second as well. And the double sticks, they pay off well. The free op donated over from the last round, and Detonate's coming towards the end of their money. They're going to have enough to drop over, but going into the following round, it might have to be a half depending on if they get the bomb down or not. And a bit of a scary scenario for Detonate too is they're allowing Vendetta back into this game. They've already got 5. Yeah, that's fine. But they're going to want to get a little bit more here as they've had such a good start. It seems like it would be a real shame to squander it coming into that second half.
Definitely. I mean, if they are not able to actually amass any more rounds on top of this, it goes from a good half to a very average half, one that they might be a bit more disappointed in. And again, we're looking to more contact-heavy plays here from Detonate, searching for a pick as Landmaz, and he's offered one up from Tender. So an opening here onto the A bomb site, a lot of space given over, and I mean, rightfully so. Vendetta has to respect this. Flashbang in, and they start to scale slowly but surely. Vendetta kind of giving all of connector, giving all of jungle yet again. But they just abandoned it.
Yeah,
they
I
say,
don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they have been giving a lot of room to breathe on the A and the B apartment side, and they've take a note that they don't actually fight for mid all too often. It's just really Pluto here on the connector side of things. So if they do decide to scale up Catwalk and pounce onto a B split here, maybe things might look better for them.
They got to be careful with Khan. That smoke has a gap for Pluto to exploit, but
exactly.
he's not holding the right angle, and that's a kill Momo needs to land. He does back out of that with enough time, and speaking of time, 33 seconds to gamble this rotation all the way back to A. They've sold the fake, though. Vendetta are full gamble stacking. This is the third round we've seen a gamble stack. 2 were on half by 4 spy rounds, going to rounds 2 and 3. And now they're doing it on a gun round, leaving the A site incredibly vulnerable, wide open. Consti's going to try and come back. 2 CT with the op. Stop the bomb plant. He actually might be able to. And Woohoo picks up a pretty big one onto Nox to bring it back. But look at jermanji's position. Such a good strong angle up in ladder room. The nade will come through. Pluto will cross, and jermanji will mow him down as well. Down to 1 HP. But he's able to get both kills. Just Momo and Consti. Double op retake coming onto the A site. That's the start they needed. Landmass gone. The tag is landed, though. And the health is very low on jermanji and Wolffe. Although with the ops, it doesn't really matter in that case. But it's a wide open plant, and there's the first kill. There were second players in towards Sandwich, but that's a back out kill for Consti. Just try and save the op, and jermanji might be in position to try and hunt this. Although with their money, it might not be the most financially prudent decision.
Certainly, I mean, 6th round on the board here for Detonate. I was going to say there was a bit of a couple of questionable calls there to move around the map as often as they were, but it nets them the round regardless. 6th on the board here for Detonate. A bit of a head scratcher with that double op trying to retake there. The finances of something like that is never going to be cheap, and getting away with keeping those double ops is always a real boon. But instead, they're back to that single op setup. Momo's back onto the rifle, and rightfully so. I mean, it is a very expensive thing to commit to. And it's back to this A setup again. Another set piece, but this time straight off a spawn.
That's the second round in a row. Tender has wide swung into the op. He really likes to go for these early peaks. It has not really necessarily panned out too well for him. Around the bench angle, though, he'll hit the opening pick. Nice trade back from Nox. Head on a swivel. Very aware of that. And it's a good trade. And a bomb plant comes through. A nice smoke A execute. Detonate really taking advantage of how much room Vendetta are giving up to them. And again, we still haven't seen a timeout come in from Vendetta. Another op shot landed from jermanji. Not good enough for a kill. Hitting him through the body, through the wall. Not really getting the open damage you would have liked. But Landmass will use the AK to good effect. jermanji will finally get a kill on the op. And Consti will get another exit kill as he'll retreat. Try and save. And I'd say now this is where you hunt if you're Detonate. You got some cash built up. You want to get that op out of Consti's hands and really bankrupt this Vendetta side. Because aside from the op in the next round, they're not going to have all too much. Maybe they go for a half buy with the op around. Consti can drop an M4, but overall, it's probably a half buy around for Vendetta and a half victory for Detonate if they play their cards right.
Certainly. I mean, holding on to this AWP is definitely nice. You've got 8.7 in the bank. I think you could potentially find a way to buy into this round because Momo's also on 5K. So maybe they can scrounge together a buy here, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. Believe 2 rifles dropped on over from Consti, and we're still looking decent enough for round number 10. But it's getting really scrappy in the server this time around, and the stark use of the stark use of how Vendetta is using their utility here is kind of upsetting. I'm not necessarily seeing effective Molotovs. As soon as a bomb goes down, Molotov just being thrown as these smokes are fading and no actual contact being taken immediately after has me feeling that they just want to take these aim duels, and not winning them, as you know, the first 9 rounds have suggests that maybe, you know, we need to actually take it into a different approach, try to approach the CT side a little bit differently, and that hasn't necessarily been working out here for Vendetta. And these 7 rounds have been rightfully earned from Detonate. They're sticking to their guns, and it's working effectively.
Yeah, it's a real good start for Detonate here, and honestly, I feel like they're playing like the better team in more aspects than just aim. They're outthinking Vendetta. They're playing smarter. Yeah, they've had some close scares with the time. But a lot of that, too, I think is just because Vendetta's giving them so much space. It's more like, wait, are they gamble stacking again decisions? Or, hey, we don't have our smoke, so we're just scared. But Overall, Detonate has had the better reads, they've had the better rotations, and Vendetta has looked very scrambled, very out of sorts. And in all aspects, they have been on the receiving end of bad plays. Though this from Momo could be huge. Only one kill does pose a problem. However, the bomb spotted needs to be a rotate now, and Pluto will come in to join Consti, making the rotation as well. They can get into the B side, but Woohoo's here with a FAMAS, and he stops the first player. Pluto will grab 2 out of the balcony, and Noxie, the last one standing, taken out by Tender over on A. And there's a good confident round for Vendetta off the back of their first timeout. Finally, something right goes the way of Vendetta, and it took a little bit of a gamble, it took a little bit of an aggressive posture. But it's those kind of little tactical aggressive plays that have been lacking from Vendetta's side this whole entire map so far. And it just took one play from Momo, get the bomb, get the information, to get Vendetta a very strong round.
Certainly. I mean, from the outside looking in, it looks as though Detonate is playing like the much more confident team. They're playing like the overdogs in this situation. And we need a little bit more of that guts and bravado from these Vendetta individuals. We're starting to see that a little bit, especially with Pluto, Woohoo, both chiming in. I know it's just a half buy, but trying to get these confidence kills going will definitely help when those buy rounds come around. And to play with those more aggressive CT setups, having aggressive apartments pushes, aggressive palace peaks, maybe a double ramp setup as well. All that good stuff. That versatility is definitely needed here from Vendetta. A little less respect and a little bit more bravado. That's what I'm trying to look for here in the CT side and in the closing sectors of this first half.
They can still theoretically win the half. So if they're able to string it enough and get that 8th round on the board, I think would be a great recovery and probably
Definitely.
a little bit of a dampening effect to the Detonate mental. Because they did a good job. They've got 7 rounds, which is far superior to anything they posted on the map in the last 3 months at the very least. But to watch that slip away and watch your opponents just start to come alive, it can be a really dampening effect on the mental. It could really shut you down, turn that momentum back to the favor of Vendetta. And going to map 2, which is Ancient, you have to favor Vendetta there. So this is the turning point in the round. If Detonate can't stabilize here and give Vendetta a window back in, I feel like it's wide open for Vendetta to take.
Yet again, it's just this solo anchor of Tender on the A site. He spotted out quite a number of individuals. He's gotten the first, which is quite important this time around. And Consti's here to help out. So looks like everything's under control here from Vendetta, but Lyricy has other things to say.
That's a nice trade back from Pluto. Pluto doubles down on that. That's massive. Eliminating jermanji is huge. If Pluto got taken down to 2v2 in a completely different scenario, Pluto will instead land 3 kills in the round. And Vendetta, 2 rounds in a row again. Their previous streak was also 2 in a row. But the money, this time for Detonate, will not be there. They're broke again. Pistols will be purchased. A Deagle, probably a couple P250s, another couple Deegs. But overall, not the biggest buy-up for this T side. Utility is also going to be actually negligible. I don't think they have any at all. Yeah, no utility purchased up at all for Detonate. And it's going to be a pistol rush somewhere as they split up and go for a default setup. Which, a bit interesting considering you only have pistols and no utility, but they're going to try and put some pressure on middle, using underpass as a bit of a fulcrum point, and maybe just group up in for a classic B rush with the pistols. Overall, though, this is a round Vendetta has to win, and that puts them within 2 of taking the half. A massive turning point again off the back of that one timeout at 7-2. That's an opening, though, from Wolffe, but B is not open yet. Woohoo's here. Gets that first headshot. 4 players to come on through. Jermanji will stick around and fight. Consti's come through to be the cavalry. And Landmass maybe will get another one onto Woohoo, but Pluto's come through as well. He'll back things up. Does go down to Nox, but Consti will be there to salvage the day. 2 casualties, not the best for Vendetta, but their money is definitely fine. But a timeout called this time. It is Detonate calling the pause. And a timely one is they want to make sure they can get this half as best as they can.
Yeah, the momentum's slowly starting to shift here into Vendetta's favor. You're starting to see just a bit more confidence in some of these side anchors. Woohoo's being a little bit more ballsy in some of his playmaking. And it's working out dividends here. They're trying to bring out the double op to end out the half. They've got enough money to do so. And hey, if you can get that half win, we're going to look at a very different looking second half. One that you kind of wrote off Vendetta, but with that momentum swinging in their favor, hey, a pistol round on the T side, things can look completely different. But we've got to get there, and it starts with round number 14 to tie things up with this double op setup.
The double op setup was good for him a couple of rounds, but it also ended up being a bit of a hamper when it comes to the retake. So if it strikes early and hard, then it works out well. If it takes a little bit to get activated, it doesn't really work out too well for Vendetta, but they get the opening pick on the landmass dropping down. There is the start the double sticks need. Jermanji able to make his way into Sniper's Nest, but he takes a wallbang shot, and then Pluto finishes him up. Consti's coming online, a big option here for Vendetta. Pluto as well with one, can't get the second, traded out by Wolffe. They now have control of the A site and a bomb plant available, but a 3v2 retake for Vendetta at disposal with 3 Molotovs, 2 HEs, a couple of flashbangs as well. A really solid looking retake. But the 2 ops on the retake is the major point of contention, as if Detonate just play their cards right and play the trades, if they can pick up Woohoo first, it's not going to work out too well. The op actually taken down very low. They do know where Wolffe is, and now Woohoo will take him down. Learcina 1v3 doubles down onto the 2 players coming through jungle, all down to Consti, now half HP. Spotted out by Learcy, who swings, does so much damage and backs away wisely, not overextending on the fight, looking for the 4K. Consti taps, has a kit, could have stuck it, gets the kill, but does he have time? I don't think he does.
Oh, I think he's got it. He's got it. Wow. Skin of the teeth there from Vendetta. Consti doing well to ruffle up Detonate's mental even more. I mean, man, we talked about the double ops being kind of their kryptonite as well as their success in certain rounds. But this time it's that rifle of Woohoo that allows them a little bit more space, gets them that man advantage. It usually pulls things back. But Consti stays strong, baits out the shot with the tap on the bomb. And it's even Stevens here, 7 apiece. And we can't get much closer this time around here, Boggs. It's fantastic that we have this close of a game this early on in the series.
Yeah, as we mentioned in the pre-show, a very meaningful game for both sides. Detonate looking to try and stave off auto-relegation with a last-place finish. And Vendetta looking to clinch a spot in the playoffs. Jermanji, though, will open things up. Woohoo goes hunting up top middle early and gets punished for his aggression. The bomb leading the charge out of ramp. This is a few times now Detonate has gone first with the bomb. Definitely a risky decision. Landmass goes 1 for 1, as does Pluto. But Nox will stabilize, keep it to a man advantage for Detonate, trying to get the bomb down on the A site. Tender working around the bomb, going hunting again. And this time it's costly. It falls at the feet of Tender. With a rotation coming in through jungle, that is Momo. Behind the smoke, will it favor his fade? Yes, it will. It's all down to Learcy again, this time in a 1v2. He's got the first, but no bomb plant to defend. Momo knows he has to cross at some point, and Learcy's just trying to get around. Hits the headshot. That's the dome kill. And we'll see you guys for half number 2 in just a moment.
I walk a different path. Nothing can hold me back. I passed the point of no return. Something is calling me. It's in the air that I breathe. Bring me back to life again. Dancing with my fear, burning with desire. We gon' take it to the edge and come alive. Go to hell and back just to feel the fire. We gon' turn up in this place and come alive. Oh, I see the signs and I see we're there. And I feel the lies and I feel the sand. Forever who we are. No matter if we cast away a fire in the dark. I know that you will be waiting
Oh, and we're paused again, folks. This one we were getting back into it, but we are paused up again. And, well, as you can see, it's a nice, shiny 8-7 half. And for Detonate, getting 8 rounds on the T side is absolutely phenomenal. Coming to this one in 5 prior matches, a 24.3% round win rate on the T side. And they just walk up against Vendetta, a team that's 3rd in the group with a 4-1 record this season in ECL, and drop 8 rounds on T side Mirage on one of Vendetta's better maps. It's a statement from Detonate.
Certainly. I mean, it's fantastic news for Detonate. They're definitely going to be loving the opportunity to go 1-0 up in the series. That T-side win round percentage is definitely one to look out for, because now we're in home turf territory for Detonate. They should be able to comfortably close this one out. However, we have seen some good stuff from Vendetta in matches past. I'm still not going to completely write them out of this game just yet. I'm very interested to see what they have on the table for their T side of things, especially now that they've got Consti instead of Spongy. What does that actually entail for this roster? As freeze time actually winds down, we've got 2 smokes for both Pluto and Consti, a flashbang as well, and a Molotov to close things out. So it looks like usually this is an A set piece out the box. But, I mean, we have seen B executes as well. But usually when we see this kind of set piece, these kinds of utility sets, it's usually an A set piece. But I say that and they're heading to B.
It's a B rush, isn't it? The classic pistol B take. And there's only one player relatively here positioned for this. That would be Noxio. He does have a little bit of help somewhere in the near vicinity, but he misses the first shot. It's blind for the second and third cross. The smoke will come and guide off his vision as well towards window. And now the bomb can go down for Vendetta, which is exactly the start they wanted. They're within striking distance here, and a very powerful team when it comes to fragging out, especially with Momo and Pluto. Consti as well, you can look to those guys to really start things off, but Noxio with the span through the smoke will figure out where Momo is and take him down. That gives him a little bit more, but Tender comes up traded nicely by Wolffe. Time is ticking, though. There is no kit down for Detonate. Wolffe will still try and clear on the site, but Noxio has fallen. Wolffe and Learcy with a pair of kills and Defuse to come through with plenty of time. One problem, though. Bomb went down for Vendetta, so that means Galils, that means armor, that means potentially an AK, no utility as well for them. It's not going to be an easy round for Detonate here. And if they do lose it, it opens the door wide open for Vendetta to try and take some control of.
Yeah, you never want those force buy wars to happen when that bomb does indeed go down. And that aforementioned force buy is through. Not as many rifles as I was expecting. Probably just because of the stark lack of kills that time around. Okay, I say that. We've got a core of Galils out to play. I think there was more priority for utility this time around, so they can at least get some room to breathe. And it's back to the B side again. Eventually, try to outlast a little bit of this utility and pounce immediately after. Pluto gets some parting damage onto jermanji down in mid, selling enough of a fake so that this B play can indeed come through.
I think Tender spotted out the arm of Nox, going for the jump spot. He tosses out some utility. Learcy is here as well, who will try and trade up, but he'll only get one, and that's not good enough here. Man, disadvantage for Detonate. Vendetta starting to get that bomb down already. Something good for them, but they have a chance to win this round. Wolffe takes so much damage in that engagement, and this might not even be worth a retake attempt, especially now that Landmass is about to get caught by Consti, who quite literally holds W and runs him down. Still have to Wolffe to save the M4, but a round victory for Vendetta at a very critical time will kind of start to instigate the Force Buy Wars, and it looks like begun the Force Buy Wars have.
Absolutely. I mean, keeping 3 alive in that whole Force Buy beginning is quite important. Keeping that economy in check is quite important. Having 3 rifles up, definitely a priority. It's going to make breaking through whatever Vendetta have saved up that much more difficult. And with that single loss bonus, it's basically just going to be pistols forced around this rifle of Wolffe, and I want to see how proactive he can actually be in this round. How much of a linchpin he can actually be to try and obtain double digits, because you're kind of boxed into a corner here if you're Detonate. You've got to force around this rifle. If you do lose this round, you're essentially handing over the lead. So quite a lot of onus on the shoulders of Wolffe here.
Yeah, and he's out in middle behind the smoke, just spamming away. Very risky position, especially if nades and a nade stack would come and land on him. But it's going to be Noxio who takes all the damage instead in underpass, and he's no longer a factor. Wolffe's got to be careful now, as there's a potential boost up into Sniper's Nest, and he has backed away to a more defensible position in jungle. But he's got a couple of angles to watch, too, because there's no ramp control. Yes, Landmass does have Palace, but there's nobody watching the ramp run, so Wolffe's got a couple of angles he has to keep an eye on. Consti's come through underpass, or rather, yeah, he's come through underpass and making sure nobody has popped down middle anymore. But look at Momo's position. He's waiting for a flank, and that's going to reveal Landmass's flank. That's going to reveal that the A side is relatively open as well. Probably there's only one there, because Wolffe's gotten his kill, and now he's got to solo the A side. That's exactly where the bomb was heading. But Momo might just take this to B, which would be the wrong call unless they're able to brute force their way onto site. But Deagles can be very dangerous, and we've seen some great shots coming through from both Lirsi and jermanji throughout the night. But jermanji goes hunting. He gives up that opening pick, and Detonate have given these kills, these 1v1s over to Vendetta, but Lirsi's holding an angle, using advantage of the defensive positioning. He's brought this to a winnable situation if he can get the second kill. It's definitely doable, but Consti will run him down, and Wolffe will have to save again. The M4 only saw one player. It got its kill, but everybody else went hunting and became the prey.
Was not mobile enough this time around from Wolffe, giving up his position from round start. And trying to avoid that rifle was the name of the game there from Vendetta, and they do a very good job isolating these 1v1 duels with the pistol players. And it looks like we're relegating ourselves to a potential 10th round on the board for Vendetta. All but secured, unless Wolffe can activate himself in a different style heading into the following round. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from Vendetta. Just, I mean, having the ability to set the tempo is certainly working out in their favor. And they're more willing to be a little bit more loose in their T sides here. Not as structured as I was expecting. But it's nonetheless, they're still very effective with their team chemistry. The trades have been very effective. And that in and of itself, especially against these armored pistols, is quite important.
Yeah, they're starting to win the 1v1s too, Vendetta. And that's been a big turning point, because in the beginning, it was all Detonate. Detonate were taking fights, they were winning fights. Now, Vendetta are starting to do the very same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's swung the momentum a little bit more towards their favor as the team that probably has a little more confidence overall in the season, for one, and probably has a little more establishment as far as Momo and Pluto are concerned as well, and I'd add Constantine to that mix too. So, for Detonate, they're going to have to battle against a couple of demons here. And that's a nice Molotov, too, to clear out Van. The nade follows it up perfectly. Touchdown for Tender. And, well, it's a pistol. It's a USP round, essentially. So it's a round that Vendetta should be winning with minimal fuss. Maybe they lose one player like that. That's just a cheeky little kill. But Lirsi goes down elsewhere, and the AK will probably... Hold on. Oh, if Wolffe got the second. He got the dig on a Pluto. If Wolffe got both, that could have swapped the whole round over. Or even if there was armor on, say, jermanji, could have gone for the fight, but now it's just save the AK time, and maybe Landmaz gets another kill to hurt the T economy, but the economy battle always going to be worse for the CT side, no matter the case, and Wolffe just couldn't come up with that second kill. That headshot wasn't enough.
Bummer there from Wolffe. I mean, he did actually decide to activate that A1S just a little bit more this time around. But it's all for naught. The USPs can't completely capitalize off of the dinks. Momo and Pluto get away with 16 and 8 HP respectively. And that inevitable double digits have been reached by Vendetta first, surprisingly, after a pretty impressive pistol win for Detonate. We're sitting at quite an odd situation this time around. But the buy is out. Landmass has got his AWP. Not as much impact, I think, in comparison to Consti. But now he's on his favorite half, the CT side. A little bit more opportunity to get that big green, showing a bit more impact.
Yeah, you want to see Landmass getting activated, right? It's a good individual aimer when it comes down to it. And you want to see him get a little more action. Vendetta, though, slow and steady around, burning a lot of that utility Detonate had coming to the round. They're down to 3 pieces, and there's a minute 22 on the clock. 2 smokes and a flashbang. And it's a critical problem Paladin. They have no kits.
They have no kits. They're out of utility. It's
Yeah.
minute 10. I mean, 2 smokes, yeah, sure. But I mean, you're not really going to be able to stall out too much of a hit this time around. 3 Molotovs, 2 full belts of utility essentially on Vendetta. That's enough. That's plenty. And they've gotten all of mid here as well. The world is Vendetta's oyster at this point. And it's going to get real hot and heavy for Detonate in just a little bit.
Lyrcy's going to get picked off here, too. Does some damage, but it doesn't matter. That's a big pick for Vendetta. Opens up a lot more space. They're going to go target the A site where they do have jermanji tucked into Palace, but nobody's coming his direction. It's all going to rest on the shoulders of Wolffe, who's stuck in Sandwich, which is kind of a one and done with no support. He's going to get pincered in from both sides. There's a little bit of damage from jermanji. Wolffe goes down swinging. Landmass takes a shot, but he can't get the up close and personal player of Woohoo as well. And Nox gets caught B-hopping around in CT spawn. Good aggression from Woohoo. And jermanji, he's been tagged. He's just running away, trying to stay alive. And Vendetta starting to take full control of this map, really getting it into their favor with a full-on hunt and punish with the op of all things. 11-9 now, a 2-round lead, probably a 3-round lead after this one because it's going to be USPs, maybe Deagles and P250s for Detonate again, and their 8-7 T-half is starting to look like a long-distant happy memory because this one is turning into a nightmare.
Honestly, it was a decent read from Detonate. They had 3 on the A side. They got Palace control as well, but just a little bit more tactically sharper there from Vendetta, understanding the lack of information and the potential dangers of approaching the A side that late in the round, paying attention to those important pieces of Sandwich and Palace and taking care of them respectively. And now the one kicker that Vendetta was losing in was those individuals, but look at them. Pluto with an opening kill, and look how much more aggressive they are. Granted, it's a half buy, but it's still fantastic to see if you're a Vendetta fan.
Yeah, it's good to see Pluto really getting activated too. He's a really good player, really good aimer, and to see that confidence coming forward, it's a scary thing for Detonate because we're starting to see Pluto just take fights. Just, I'm better fights is really what he's doing right now. He's full on just dry swinging everything, and it's working.
And
we
we
constantly
really
seems to smell a rat here too. He's taking a shot at Landmaz.
they're all hungry, right?
Hunt. Yeah, they're hungry. And Consti Pluto as well. 19 kills for each of them. Woohoo at 17. Woohoo's really turned it up as well, which is a nice thing to see from him. Pluto going hungry for more. Will grab himself a 2.0 KD. And Landmaz will try and, I guess, just grab something. Grab a kill if he can get it. And nope. Woohoo's going to grab his 18th. Nice awareness to be at least somewhat wary of the underpass player. And Detonate. Now would be a good time for a timeout, boys. This round is kind of where your whole map hangs in the balance.
You don't have utility on landmass, but you've got all the bells and whistles elsewhere, and that's what's most important this time around. Essentially, Last Chance Saloon. You don't want that momentum to kind of swing out of your favor, but the core of Vendetta is well and truly alive. Woohoo, Pluto, and Consti all doing work. And there's a quick and fast trade there for Consti. Landmass back at it again with that AWP. And we're into a man advantage situation for Detonate, but a huge tap there from Tender. A-Site's looking mighty, mighty fine this time around.
The bomb's left in T-spawn, but they got plenty of time. That's a massive pickup for Wolffe, though. Consti looking the wrong direction. Kind of just strolling up catwalk all alone, and he's not allowed to go for a pleasure walk this time. It was a bit of a messy spray from Wolffe, too. If Consti was a little bit more aware, he probably would have gotten the kill there. And Noxio has a chance to shut this down. He's on the logs boost, and he'll have to fall away instead. Tosses a nade in. Woohoo will toss a flame behind and towards market window. It's going to come down to a bit of timing. Here's the headshot first. It will be Woohoo. Gets the dink. Noxio does, but M4 just inferior to the AK. And even if Detonate win this, the money on the T side is so strong, and they're going to be pretty darn broke, Detonate. Wolffe does get the drop on one. They have a couple of smokes, but no nades, no Molotovs to flush Woohoo into an angle. And he tosses that smoke, which reveals his position. Wolffe will shut him down, and Detonate will grab double digits here. But again, the money is not good enough for them. Their buy is going to be relatively weak, and they've done a pretty poor job of managing their economy throughout this half. and particularly managing their utility, where they've had moments where they have 2-3 pieces of utility with a minute 20 on the clock.
Three players up is always the name of the game, and as you can see, that since it was only 2 players staying alive, we're quite in a dicey scenario, and we've gone all in. The chips are all down here. Double op setup here for Nox and Landmass. When the going gets tough, they pull out their supposed ace in the hole. 3 players on the A side to defend against this set piece. How will they respond? Jermanji and I believe Nox and Wolffe here to take care of business with Momo with the opener.
That's a good opening pick from Momo. Great flash from Woohoo to get it started, and Landmass is taking some damage as well. The nades flying into connector. A fast A-smokes take from Vendetta, fueling them forward. They're going to get the bomb down pretty quickly, but Noxio and Wolffe will get a couple of kills. Pluto just swings around on top of Triple Box, and he's knocked down 2 of the pins, holding the site, looking for the 3rd kill. Lineup here for Learcy and Noxio, both one-shots, and a Molotov to flush them out and maybe even get a kill. Learcy's going to be lucky to stay alive. Noxio gets mowed down behind the Molotov, and Pluto will 1G after he gets the kill. He grabs 4. He does not care at all. He wants all the frags. And Vendetta 3 rounds away from taking the map of Detonate, which we did call into question this pick a little bit earlier, seeing as Detonate are 1-4 on this map in the last 3 months. Their T side did maybe, I think, over-convince us a little bit, because I was thinking, all right, Detonate probably are going to win this map now after that T side, and Vendetta woke up. They decided they were here again. They wanted to take full control of it. Pluto in particular really was that catalyst to get it all started.
Just so much confidence brimming from him, pushing that Molotov, his own Molotov, in fact. That just shows some unbridled bit of confidence there. And we really needed this guy to step up. He's been a huge driving force of Vendetta's big series wins. And having him awake like this at the tail end of this map, man, it's got Detonate having their head scratching.
Well, there's a nice deagle shot from Wolffe, but Tender and Pluto will trade that back to a man advantage for Vendetta. Jermanji, Noxio, and Landmaz starting to collapse on the A site. 2 players out towards jungle. Nate will land on Landmaz and take him down just below half HP. And Vendetta might even think about rotating out. They have a couple of players abandoning, going back towards T spawn. 1 leaving Palace, 1 leaving Ram. Noxio is going to get hunted down by Pluto, who just seems to be wanting to grab 30 kills here. He will get double swung, and nobody's getting the kill. Finally, he runs out of ammunition. That'll be the way for Jermanji to finish him off. And Vendetta have gone from B to middle, maybe even trying to go back to A after that. They do catch 1 player in rotation, leaving it all down to Landmaz, who's hearing it all. And if Vendetta continue to go towards B, Landmaz might actually be able to do some serious damage here. And if he gets lucky enough, he might be able to pick up a win. Do they expect him to go through apartments is the major question.
Oh, this still could be a very, very dicey situation. Landmass has gotten all of this opportunity to move up. He's got 1, but that's all she wrote. Momo with the efficient trade frag. 14th on the board for Vendetta. And this is it, Boggs. The final buy here for Detonate before they have to hang their hat and say enough is enough. We're going to have to head to a second map with the map loss.
Yeah, they do call a timeout here.
Smart.
And it's a timely one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's one they really needed to call because, as you said, their whole map essentially hangs in the balance here. If they lose this round, it's over. Unless they have some miracle force buy, which the force buys have not been kind to them so far tonight. They have the op for Landmass. They have the rifles. They have the utility. They have 3 kits. They have everything they need to win this round. And even if they do win it again, they have to keep three or more players alive. So there's 2 different win conditions for Detonate here. And they've used a lot of utility early.
And they've got to erode through that T economy, right? So just having to do all of those conditions you mentioned, Boggs, basically 4 or 5 rounds in a row is going to be quite the turbulent task. But no excuses now for Detonate. And they start off with a beautiful opening frag on a Pluto. The danger man for Vendetta. And it's a 4v5 early on. Vendetta surging into the A site.
Nice from landmass. Look at Woohoo, a couple of quick return kills, and now
Oh,
Tender swings in the
no.
landmass. It swaps from a Detonate strike to Vendetta, exploding on Detonate and just knocking them down again. Phenomenal work from Woohoo up close and personal. Tender coming through as well. And now Learcy's stuck in towards CT at APC. Woohoo will not over-aggress. He'll swing out to the open, though. Again, nice flashbang coming in from Tender a little bit later. And a blind Learcy goes down, leaving it all down to Noxio. And it looks like Vendetta have turned the tide with a phenomenal T side. And they're going to take this one over Detonate, barring any miracles. But they had their chance to do it without the miracle. Detonate. They had their chance to do it with a little more reasonability. And, well, they don't even get 3 kills. They only get 2 out of that round. It's map point here for Vendetta with Ancient as map number 2. Paladin, I fear for Detonate on that second map, especially after what we've seen from the individuals on Vendetta here.
What an absolute capitulation here for Detonate. It felt like the map was in the palm of their hand. They were simply just one half away. They even got the start that they wanted and just couldn't start that snowball in their favor. And now you've got just so much momentum if you're Vendetta. If you close it out here, you head into Ancient. Yeah, sure, you start on the T side, but with how top-off performances we're getting from some of these individuals, it's looking fantastic. Great trades for Woohoo, and an even better shot from Pluto. And I think we're staring the barrel of a 16-10 victory here for Vendetta to close out this map 1.
Yeah. We definitely are. So we won't be able to watch the final here, folks. But the final round, I think we all knew where it was going, though. Vendetta 16-10 over Detonate. A very solid finish from them, despite a very shaky start. It was 7-2 Detonate at one point. They were only able to get 3 rounds after that marker. Only 1 round on the CT side, and that was the pistol round.
Yeah,
It's
I believe
just not good enough.
they got 1 more round on a clutch, I believe, another defuse. But
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
bar that, absolutely